Hey friends, hopping on live. If you watch the replay, welcome. I'm going to show you guys something super cool. Hoping people are home today and can have a chat. Kind of bored because we're totally snowed in. Check this out. I mean, there's a lot of snow for us. Probably about 4 inches. It was supposed to snow today and it has not. You know, most people are hopefully secure from the hurricane here. Still have not finished these mushroom logs, friends. Still have not. But we'll get there. But look at all this snow. About 4 inches. A lot of snow. It's actually really beautiful. It's warmed up a little bit. It was so super cold before the snow. It's cold. I mean, don't get me wrong, but it's a little less cold. And I'm going to go to the garage and we're going to tidy up seeds a little bit and just chat. Chat about all the things. What's going on in the world? What do we need to prepare for? Show you guys the towers. They're looking amazing. Was trying a new experiment. These are supposed to be, what are they? I forget the name of them. Let's go look. Green lacewigs. Because this tower has aphids. This one, just a few. It hasn't been a problem. This one, very few. And my harvest wall has none. But this one was right by the garage. It's closest to the outside. It's still fine. I mean, it's not a big deal. Don't stress over things like that. But because I grow in the garage, I'm trying to test because I'm also going to grow in a greenhouse next year. I'm not going to bring the towers into the garage. I'm going to bring 2 or 3. But I'm going to keep them outside. I'm really just tired of going back and forth and back and forth. So these are the tower gardens. Let me show you what's growing. So beautiful. We've got iceberg lettuce here. We've got some green beans. They've been slow to grow because it's pretty cold in here. We've got bok choys, baby greens. My husband had those for lunch. This is some sort of bok choy. And I like to just come out here, clean up any leaves that are icky. Cauliflower, greens, kale, cilantro, so many things. This is food security, guys. This is what keeps us fed. Look at this beautiful. This is Pablo. It's an heirloom iceberg. And it's got this beautiful red color to it. I love that one. What is this one? Some kind of brassica. Might be a kohlrabi. It got really cold in here because this garage actually does not hold temperature very well. So some of my leaves look a little ratty. We just clean those up. Don't fret. Sometimes I'll see people ask, like, why are my leaves brown? Sometimes you just get a couple brown leaves. Welcome, guys. Hey, Steph. Love the towers. Thanks, Aaron. I love bok choy. Same. Bok choy is one of the healthiest greens you can eat. We can grow so many nutrient-dense foods this way, and the stuff at the grocery store is lacking. First off, because the soil is depleted. They're old, they've traveled, they've been sprayed with pesticides and chemicals, and even the stuff that is organic has been sprayed with those misters that spray on the food in the grocery store. It's actually a chlorine product. So gross. Glad to see you didn't get a lot of snow. Yeah, we got about 4 inches, not too much. Welcome. This tower over here, so you can grow peppers year-round as a perennial. I just got this steam cleaner, and actually we're going to talk about this. So if you don't know, I have a TikTok shop, and I was doing Amazon, and because you guys will want to know, like, where do you get this? Where do you get that? This is a good example of one. I clean my towers with one of these air blower compressors. It's amazing. This one died, which is why my towers look so dirty, because I just go and brush them off. It helps to pollinate things, and it keeps any of the aphids off because I'm in a garage. I'm not sealed. I get pests in here. But I'll send you guys to Amazon, and then they won't have it, or the link will go bad, and then I'll get 100 messages. So I use my TikTok shop because it's so much more reliable. And I just got this product. It's coming this week. And it's a steam cleaner. And I'm going to steam all of this off. Instead, this is just algae. It's normal to hydroponics. and you just wipe it off. Normally I just hose it off when they're in the garage, when they're outside, but when they're in the garage or in your home, it's a little bit harder. So I'm gonna steam these. I can't wait. I'll show you guys how that works when it comes in, because that could be a game changer. Also, you can steam plants at a pretty high heat without causing harm. So I'm actually gonna try and steam the aphids. So we'll see if that works. Hello from Central Virginia. We have snow on top of ice. Ooh, that's scary, Ellen. Snow on top of ice is slippery. That sounds dangerous. We can't go anywhere. Our driveway is probably snow on top of ice, actually, now that you say that. It was frozen yesterday, and you just slide all over the place. So when you grow peppers, they're a perennial, and they will live for 5 years. Someone asked me, do I cut the roots? I have not ever cut the roots and managed them yet. I just totally broke that limb, though. Oh, no, look what I did. Oops. Okay, well, we gave that one a prune. But what you do is you let them grow and fruit. This is a bell pepper right here. And then after they bloom, they start to get a little ratty looking like these. They're just worn out. This one's got one ripe pepper. Once I harvest all these peppers, I cut them back pretty well, and then they just rebloom again. And look at how green and beautiful the leaves look. So most of these need to be pruned back. This one was already done. I was just waiting for some of the food to finish ripening. This right here is sweet marjoram. It's a medicinal herb. It's growing like crazy. I'm actually gonna cut that and juice it today. And we're gonna have orange. My oranges and citrus came in. I have a co-op I use. We're gonna juice this with oranges and grapefruit, and I'm gonna add some aloe. Look at this aloe. So the aloe is an edible aloe. Aloe is incredibly medicinal, anti-cancerous, all the things. It's so good for you. And all you do, it has little pups right here. You can take those and start new ones, but you just take the leaf and scrape out the inside, and I just blend it in with my juice, with my hand and a fork. Just mix it in. Mealybug defense tips. What are mealybugs? I can't think of what those are. Is that tube filled with dirt? No, these are filled with water. This is aeroponics. So I don't know if I can show you guys. What are the mealybugs? I don't remember what those are. So this is on a timer, and it's set for, it's set for outside. It should be set for indoors, which is the eye. This one's set for outside too. Okay, and what it does is there's water in this tank. Sorry, I need to clean everything up out here. But it's more important we grow food than we keep things clean. And it's pumping the water to the top. And so if we pull this out, you can see there's the water. And it's got minerals in it and nutrients from the earth. And we grow a ton of food. I grow all my food year round, so we don't have to rely on the grocery store. Including aloe. This is oregano. I'm also going to cut that and juice it. Actually, I think we're going to make oil of oregano. We've got all sorts of jalapenos. These are potapinos, so they're tiny. And I was saying, like, this plant looks rough because we need to harvest it, cut it back, and then it'll start fresh again. And they just keep doing that. Look at these beautiful peppers. We had a bunch this morning for breakfast. A dusting of snow here with some ice, mostly gone in central North Carolina where I'm at. Yeah, we're about 4 inches sticking to the ground. I sound about 180. Thank you. That's a long time to live. Orange and marjoram. Yes, orange and marjoram is the best. I actually really love tangerines and herbs blended together in juice. Don't forget to hit the like button. Oh, yeah, thank you, Jenna. Hit the like button. I'm going to show you guys. Diatomaceous earth doesn't work well on a tower, and the reason is we're dealing with water. And so if you tried to put them like here, it just turns into a paste. You could put the powder on them. They're really not that big of a deal. Like you see, I have no pests on this one. Like there's not a single pest. I've got very few on this one. I was actually just trying this as an experiment to share with other people. This is the one that's had the most problems because it's right by this door. So they're just coming in from the door. But the best way I found to manage them is with this little thing I was saying that I have on my TikTok shop. It's not on there right now, but I'm adding one. And you just blow them off. And so I just come out here and blow them off. and then sweep the floor and keep everything tidy. Typically, I haven't been that great this year. I don't consume diatomaceous earth personally. Let's go over here and look at what else is going on. So we've got some new starts. These need some water. These are my tomato plants. Not sure what those are. These haven't come up yet. These are some basil that did not like this garage because it's actually super cold in here still. And then over here, we have microgreens growing. These are at all different stages. Some of them popped up super quick. These are my other microgreens. So the difference between a microgreen and a sprout is a sprout you do in a jar, and this would be a sprout. So we would eat this right now. That one's stuck to my finger. It's got these two sprout leaves, the little heart leaves. Those are sprout leaves. And we eat the root. On this one, we would cut off that end part because these are actually grown in a cocoa core. Microgreens, on the other hand, we let them grow to the first set of leaves. So they're gonna get what we call true leaves. All of these are sprout leaves, but you'll start to get what's called true leaves, and the true leaves come in, you'll get 2 of them, and then it's a microgreen. After that, like this is still essentially a sprout, but those right there are gonna be the first true leaves, and then you would cut it and eat it, and that's a microgreen. These over here would be considered baby greens. They're young. You can cut these right now, eat them. This is cilantro. Let it regrow. Repeat the process. These are baby greens. These are starting to get more into like medium-sized leaves. So when you're sprouting, just goes to show, yeah, you can grow anything any time of year if you invest in your health and wellness and invest in systems that grow food. I've been a gardener for 20 plus years. I have invested many more thousands of dollars than this in soil gardens that I have nothing to show for. I've built raised beds. I've moved so much compost, fertilizers, tools, so many thousands of things with nothing to show for them. This I bought once, and it grows all our food year round. I'm on my 3.5 years at this point. And now it just saves me a ridiculous amounts of money. Like I can't even tell you the savings on this. Because to grow this head of lettuce is 25 cents. 25 cents. 11 cents for the rock wool. About 2 cents in seeds because I buy them in bulk. And then the power to run this is about, in my area, $6 a month without the lights, and about 14 with the lights. So when you break that down based on what I can eat, I'm turning these over every 5 weeks. I let them get pretty big in my grow station and then replace them out. So the tonnage of food, and I can say tonnage in my lifetime, is ridiculous. We grow so much food in here. Plus, you can't grow marjoram in anything. Like, I mean, you could grow it in the ground, but then it would die. Like, well, you can't buy this is what I meant to say. You can't go to the store and buy this much marjoram. But first off, you wouldn't be able to find it. Oregano, same thing. They sell at Walmart, they sell like these little plastic packages. First off, plastic being the problem. Second, bad growing practices. Third, old. Fourth, chemicals on it. But they would sell you like this much for almost $4. That's crazy. Crazy, crazy. So microgreens. If you were to eat sprouts, hold on, let me read some comments here. I used a lot of hot pepper water based spray I made myself to get rid of aphids. Oh, nice. I'll try that tonight, actually, because these are all hot peppers. Not all of them, but I have a lot of hot peppers. I grow tons of them, and I use tons of them, but I for sure could spare a few to make a spray. So I'm going to give that a try. Thank you. I could see where that would work. Do you get less pests with aeroponics than soil? Yes, and here's why. So indoors, you can get aphids. I'm in a garage, which is why it's really easy to get them because it's not sealed. Like, look at the crack under there. I've got my wool army blanket to keep the crack kind of closed for the cold, not the pests. And there's no predator in the winter that deals with aphids. In the summer, I never have aphid problems outside. And the reason is I do in my soil gardens because I still have raised beds. I don't in my towers. And the reason is I can easily come and hose these off. And that's really the best way to manage most pests, is to just keep your plants nice and clean. And so I do that. And when I hose in the garden, it's not the same because they grow low to the ground. And so you can't get under the leaves. So you miss a lot of things. Where here, I just put it on a light mist and I can go around all of my plants and keep everything nice and tidy. So I don't have a lot of pest problems. The other thing, slugs are huge in our area. And when you grow in the soil, it's so easy because you're basically, especially if you do wood raised beds, that's like slugs jam. They create habitats, and mealybugs, the like roly-polies. They all create their habitat in those environments, and then they come out and eat your plants. Well, in the hydroponics, they can't make it up the tower. I keep these on rock on my driveway. I just grow in our driveway. So I keep them on a solid surface. And so the slugs can't cross that because the rocks get hot. I have found one slug one time on my tower in all the years I've grown. And I was so amazed, I couldn't even figure out how it got there. We just went through this like 2-week rainy storm, and it was just the slug that never gave up because it somehow found its way to the top of the tower. That's it. So yeah, they are much easier to clean. The only real predators I deal with in the winter or in the summer are the white fly caterpillars, and I use a natural biological for those. And again, it's easier with the towers because what I do is spray over the top and let it rain down like every 2 weeks. I don't even spray each individual plant. I just spray over the top and let it rain down. And those white fly, I guess they can sense that biological and they don't lay their eggs there. So really, really beneficial. Deb, yeah, you know, they're an investment, the towers, for sure. I personally don't see it that way just because her comment was they're great, but they're pricey for a lot of people. They are, but they're not when they save you money. Like it took about, for me, my return on investment was 1 year. And so what I started doing was I did the payment plan and I just shifted the money to pay them off that we were saving at the grocery store. But now they save me thousands of dollars a year, like so many thousands of dollars. So to me, they're an investment. It's like, what do we spend our money on? I was talking to somebody about this. If you looked at, like, just go track everything you spend for the next month. And I bet you would be surprised, like, what we spend money on that's actually really terrible for our health. Just going by the gas station, grabbing a beverage, grabbing a snacky thing. Those things add up and they cause so much damage to our bodies. And we're not investing in things that produce anything. I'm a huge fan. Money in the bank is a complete waste right now. You're actually losing money because of inflation. So I am always looking for ways to invest our money, if we have any excess, into something that produces something that's going to take care of us. So that's kind of how I view it. Yeah, nest boxes, diatomaceous earth in the nest boxes are great. Thank you for the subscribe. Awesome. I teach how to grow food in any space. And you know, if the towers are too expensive or you need to save up for a while, you can be doing things like microgreens. And that's, you know, if we take it seriously, if we pay attention to what's happening in the world and what's on our food and really take it seriously, this should be our top priority. Oh my gosh, something fell. This garage is a mess, guys. This should be our top priority, growing some of our own food. You can do this for pennies. This bag of seeds cost me $14 on Amazon. I've had it for 2.5 years. That's what these are, arugula sprouts. It's so easy. You don't need a heat mat. You don't need a light. You can do this on your kitchen counter. I just do them out here because I have these things. So great. Is netting a good solution for pests? You don't really need it. We don't get that many pests. I would never, like, netting would be an annoyance, in my opinion, like, to deal with that. All you got to do is deal with the caterpillars. And inside, like, if you've got aphids, the best way to manage them, and netting's not going to do it, first off, because they're microscopic. Just using this blower. Just clean your plants every day. Takes 2 minutes. This is what I used to do all the time. but it died, see? And I would just go in here and do this, and then I would wipe the rim down, and you get to spend time with your plants and clean up any leaves that don't look beautiful. And it's fun. It gives me something to do in the winter. I used to hate winter because I was bored, and now I love it because I get to come in here and grow food. Let me show you my other growing system. Lady like me, I don't know off the top of my head. I put a link to these in my description. If you're interested in the towers, you can go check them out. I think with the lights in the 900 range, but don't hold me to that. I don't really pay attention to the pricing of them. Yeah, so go check that out if you want to see. They are, out of all the systems, they're one of the least expensive if you're going with something good. Now, you can go on Amazon and buy a piece of crap. The problem is this is a special plastic that doesn't degrade. So I've got friends who've been farming in the sun in these for over 15 years, and they have had zero breakdown, which is what we want because we don't want things breaking down and getting into our food. So it's a UV blended formula where most are UV coated and that stuff peels off and then the system falls apart. This is also UV safe, so nothing gets in there. So if you notice, this is green here. That is algae. That is common to hydroponics. Any hydroponic system you get will have algae because when you've got nutrients and water and light come together, algae is going to grow. It's harmless. Actually, a lot of it's good for the plants and the ecosystem of your plants. It's kind of like gut bacteria. Plants need natural things. You know, we want our world to be very sterile, but the truth is we kill the good things that actually help the plants uptake nutrients and our bodies uptake nutrients when we get a little bit too sterile. So it protects a lot of the systems you'll find, like when people print them with 3D printers, this is a problem too. They are transparent, like the light can go through them and then they get algae inside their system. That is bad. That means you're just having a headache and no fun. And that would be very high maintenance. I clean the inside of these like twice a year, maybe 3 times. And usually I only clean, and I don't really even clean the inside. I just get the roots out. That's what I'm worried about. I clean them maybe 3 times a year, but mostly because I'll grow tomatoes and peppers. And then I need to take all that stuff out and put in squash and cucumbers. And then I need to take that stuff out. That's why. Name of these plants. Let's talk about the plants. Hold on. How much power is needed? So these run inside 3 minutes every 12 minutes. So the power usage is about $6. I have a link in my description. I have a free ebook in there and I break that down. It's very minimal. If they're growing outside, $6 a month to run a tower. And I'm growing on this particular one, 4, 8, 12, 16, 24. 54 plants. So it's a lot of food because this one has these smaller extension kits on it. This one I'm growing 28 plants. These plants will get larger though. So I'm growing smaller plants up here that are available to eat faster so that I'm putting fresh lettuce on our table every single night. We actually had a huge salad today for lunch right off of this tower. These, however, look at how big this one is. This is a baby greens bundle. My hand is right here. Like this is 3 of my hands worth of food. So bigger food, 28 plants. You grow a lot of food. And I turn things over really quickly. I normally have my starts going all the time. And I let them get pretty big over here. And then when I take a plant out, which actually I need to start seeds because there's nothing over there. They're here. Here they are. When I take a plant out, I'll put one of these in. Totally forgot they were on the rim. That's funny. Year-round food is priceless. Pest-free? Yeah, that's right, Patricia. Pesticide-free food is priceless. Nutrient-rich food. The soil is so depleted, guys, that they're saying the nutrients in food by the time you eat them from the grocery store is as little as 15% left. Like, that's crazy. The nutrients since the 20s has diminished in our food dramatically. I think it's why we have so many health issues. That combined with all the garbage they put in the food, there's no way to cleanse it out. So at least when we're eating fresh, nutrient, whole foods, we're cleansing our bodies constantly to kind of keep up with all the toxins that we're exposed to in this world. Yeah, 900 plus versus $3.99 a pop, and a 3-ounce tub of arugula every few days adds up quick. That's right, Dirty Dan. Yesterday alone, I used 4 bundles of arugula. Like, that's a lot of money. And not to mention, I get to eat that much food. Most people don't eat that many greens because nobody wants to buy that much plastic and stuff. So I eat a lot more because I grow on these. I'm reading some of the comments. How much do you spend on fertilizer? Is it organic? So I buy the Tower Garden fertilizers. And I'll show you over here. This is my harvest wall. This is a different system. This is a hydroponic hybrid system. Those are an aeroponic hybrid system. This is my mess that I keep saying I'm going to clean up and don't do. So I use these. They're from Tower Garden. I use them in both this system and in my towers. These are $65 for both of them. And these last me 9 months per tower. So this right here is equivalent of 2 towers. So a little bit less on this because this is basically double the growing space, but 9 months per tower. So that's pretty good. Divide 9 into 65. I don't know what that costs, but that's why it's so affordable. Like, once you invest in one of these systems, the cost to grow food compared to what I was paying for soil gardening goes down dramatically. And I just stockpile these. I like to keep a many month supply in case there was any kind of emergency. I have all this stuff on hand, so we just have it. So let's talk about what's on here. Some of this needs to be harvested. It is gone wild. So what makes this one different than a true hydroponic? True hydroponic water flows all the time. It's always flowing. The problem with that, it has to be horizontal and instead of vertical, so it takes up more space. And you get into just a little bit more complicated technique for feeding that kind of food. This runs just like a tower garden, but instead we use coco coir. And so the water's in the bottom, the pump turns on. You can see it's going. This one actually only runs for 4 minutes, 4 times a day. So I tried to get the power consumption of this one and it's like a quarter. It's ridiculous. Now the light takes more power. So in the end, this one cost me the same to run indoors as those because this light consumes more power than those lights. So it's about $16 a month to grow all the food. And actually this is double the amount of food, except for that one with the extension kit on it. So the water's up here. It's running through this channel and it drips down. These are some baby greens. So it's doing the exact same thing. It's just using a different growing medium. So with this one, our growing medium, I'm actually gonna harvest this because I need to eat this. This is the cabbage that's starting to get brown tips because it's mature and ready. So all the roots, they're just getting dripped on. This right here, cabbages, tot soys, these are tomatoes. This tower has a lot of food on it. I need to do some thinning and do some harvesting. These are green beans. This right here is classic sign of a nutrient deficiency. The green beans are also super stressed because it's so cold in here and they do not like the cold. So that's all I'm doing when I manage these. There they are. I'm still letting them grow. This will come back. I'm just gonna give it a haircut and give it the nutrients it needs. But I don't check pH. I don't check anything on these. I don't check pH or anything on those. I just look for signs. This right here is a nutrient deficiency. It's easy to clean up. All it is telling me is I need to add a little bit more nutrients, and that's all I do. Look at these. These are bok choys. This is called shijimusai. It's one of the most nutrient-dense greens you can eat. Cauliflower, look, it's a baby cauliflower. It's taking shape. If you insulate your garage door, it makes a lot of difference. Yeah, I need to. This garage, look at the problem with this garage. It was a mechanic's garage, and it's gigantically tall. And so it holds heat terribly, terribly holds heat, which is why I'm going to put these, they are going to go into like a greenhouse setup next year, and I'm expanding my harvest wall inside. what can and cannot grow on the towers. So on the towers, I grow everything. On here, you're a little bit more limited. So I use this as an indoor system. You can see like things just don't have a lot of space to get super, super big. Where the towers, they have more space. So on my towers, you can see these are full-grown pepper plants. They all need to be a little bit cut, like trimmed, but they're big. On the towers, I grow pumpkins, I grow squash, I grow zucchini, I grow yellow squash. I grow all my tomatoes for canning. I'm getting into growing all our own soybeans and beans. I'm gonna be growing fava beans. I grow okra, I grow eggplant, anything. The only thing I cannot grow on the towers are potatoes because they grow under the ground, garlic because it grows under the ground, and carrots. I can grow turnips. These are actually turnips right here. And they're starting to form their bulbs. I grow beautiful turnips on the towers. I grow beets on the towers because those have a feeder root. So it has a root that feeds in the system. Look at that, I got it dirty. And then the actual part we eat grows above the soil. So anything like that you can grow. There's some rutabaga growing on this one. Look at these, radish. And this goes back to the same thing I was saying. The feeder root is down here. And then the bulb, the part we eat, is up here. And so we have the food. Anything like this we can grow. This is kale. I mean, look at these colors. Isn't that incredible? Purple foods have anthocyanins in them, which makes them extra nutritious. This system, I sprout in it. You can sprout in a tower too. Yeah, I just tried to sprout on my grow station because it makes food turnover faster because I can let a lot of that slow growing happen over here. But because of the hurricane, life has been a little messy. Let me scroll to the bottom. I probably missed a lot of things. Where do you get your soil from? So my soil is right here. And again, I'm big on preparedness. And so I stock these like a year's supply. I just keep them on hand. They're easy to store. This goes a tremendously long way. I can grow an entire harvest wall with one of these. I also raise worms and worm compost, and I will take my compost from my worms and add it into there for extra nutrition. But because I'm feeding these with minerals and nutrients, all I need is this. You don't have to have a nutrient-based soil, which is key because compost is so incredibly toxic these days, guys. The compost has gotten out of control because of what they're feeding the cows and the animals that we're getting. Even the organic, there's a blowover problem happening where they're eating grass that's supposed to be organic and it's got forever chemicals on it. They're also jabbing all of the animals. And so all their compost is loaded with the byproducts of antibiotics and all the jab stuff that is super, super gross. You don't want the shedding. It's another reason I kind of moved away from soil gardening. Oh my gosh, there's a bird in here. Poor guy. Because I do not trust anything in the compost anymore. All right, let's open this garage for this bird. You see it? This used to be our home gym, and then the hurricane hit, and now it's like a distribution center. There he is. Oh, come on, guy. So, yeah, that's all I use. You can also use worm casings if you worm compost. I teach about that on my regular channel. If you want to follow my regular my long form channel, or just subscribe to my channel. I'm actually about to do a whole thing on worm composting. But you make a spray. This is just an old spray bottle. And you make a tea, and then you spray your plants with that, and it just increases. It's like giving them the gut health reset of, like when we do that for our bodies, it's like probiotics. Makes them even more healthy. I make my own compost. Yeah, making your own is key. I make my own too for my raised beds. I just can't make enough to grow this much food. I actually don't have enough yard space. I grow on 13 towers. Let me show you. I don't have enough yard to grow. This is my driveway. So I have 13 towers that sit here. Actually, 3 of them go over there. And this is where I grow all of our food. Tomatoes, so much food. And I just don't have the yard space to do that. Our fence fell over. Or I can never make that much compost. So the other way I grow is what you're seeing right here is actually a permaculture food forest. And I have a permaculture food forest here and out there. And I do a lot of mushroom farming. Those are my mushroom logs right there. So outside, I'm really trying to use nature with permaculture practices and regenerative practices. And then the towers replace the grocery store. And hopefully this little birdie will fly out. When I brought my citrus into the garage before the freeze. Ah, yes, ladybugs. I've got ladybugs. They followed me in here too because they like to eat all the pesty pests. So there's some ladybugs on here. Permaculture is where it's at. It is. But here's the problem with permaculture. I've been a permaculture gardener for 20 plus years too. I've had a gigantic food forest. Gigantic in Florida. I mean, my food forest in Florida used to people would come visit it from far away. It was so incredible. It doesn't replace the grocery store. It's supplemental. It replaces a lot of things. I'm gonna take you guys over to my newest food forest, which is over here. It's actually a perimeter food forest, meaning it's a wall it's a line instead of like a deep forest. And it's right here. So over counting, that's a pear tree, serviceberry, blueberry, raspberries, blackberries. There'll be pawpaws in here, and it just repeats. All of this is food forest around this whole trim here. It'll be filled. Comfrey, medicinal herbs. There's over 14 trees right here that are food trees, and it's great. It's supplemental though, because that, as much as it grows and as much as I've grown with permaculture, I never, like in the deep of the winter, could replace the grocery store. Even with like tomatoes and things, I just couldn't replace the grocery store. Now I eat vegetables and mushrooms. That's my diet. So I eat a lot of food too. What do you use for starter plants? Roots or seeds? I grow everything from seed. Oh my gosh, it's stuck to my feet. I'm gonna slide. These shoes are barefoot shoes. So they have like no traction on them. So they just collected that snow like it was ice. I got ice socks now. I start everything from seed. These are a lot of my seeds. I was trying to get organized. Didn't quite happen. Microtomatillos, cilantro. Everything is grown from seed. For the towers, we grow in what's called rock wool. And let's start some seeds together, actually. These were supposed to be something and they didn't take off. They were supposed to be peppers, and it's too cold in here to germinate peppers. So let me show you. I buy seeds in bulk for things like lettuce. And so this is a baby greens mix. Actually, I want to do cilantro. I buy by the ounce because it saves a ton of money when you're going to heavily seed things. You want your rock wool wet. It's wet still. It's got vermiculite over the top of it already because I'm recycling these, but it's fine. And I'm just going to heavily seed these. I hear that little bird. It's trying so hard to get out. There he goes. Oh, she's out. Okay. I'm putting in 15 to 20 seeds of cilantro. I'll show you what this looks like. I mean, this is how simple it is, guys. No-brainer kind of stuff here. All right. That's it. I'm going to put a little vermiculite, which is somewhere in this garage. I'm really going to clean my act up eventually. Not today. One of these days, though. Usually this garage in the winter is so spotless, and I spend a lot of time out here. But like I've mentioned with the hurricane, we ended up kind of being a distribution center. I've got ovens, stoves in here. It just got overwhelming. Ski gear. Okay, so this is vermiculite. We put that in here to make it easy to spread. This comes with your tower, by the way. The tower gardens come with everything, seeds and all. Not all the seeds. You'd want to watch some of my other videos to expand on what you do if you want to get more advanced, but to get you started. And I have a seed starting course that teaches you everything. So that's it. I want these a little bit more wet, and it's frozen outside. So what I'm gonna do, typically you would just use regular water and make sure they're soaked through. You soak them for about 20 minutes and then dump off the excess. But I don't have a hose right now because everything's frozen outside. So I'm gonna take water out of my tank. This has nutrients in it, totally fine, won't hurt anything. And I'm gonna give these a good soaking. Make sure your seeds don't pop out of the hole like some of mine just did. Even if it did, it's okay. They'll just grow right into the rock wool. Doesn't matter. Don't overthink it. It's easy. Okay, then this is a heat mat. Want to make sure I have a heat mat that's on. So you're gonna need a heat mat and you need some sort of grow light. And then this heat mat actually, I noticed is not on. So I'm gonna figure out, there it is. Turn that one up. Make that warm, and that's it. They sprout, and then when they get to a certain size, we'll put them in the tower. Looks like seedy place. Yeah, that's funny. Victory Seeds has nice varieties. Yeah, Victory Seeds. I'll show you my Victory Seed tomatoes. I get all my tomatoes. Well, not all of them. I have a lot of Victory Seed tomato seeds, and Totally Tomato is where I get them, both of those. But these are from Victory Seeds. Aren't they beautiful? It's my tomato plant. They're not happy because it's pretty cold, but they are beautiful still. And they'll hang in there. It won't be cold very much longer. We'll have warm days, and they're already fruiting. This is how you get them to fertilize, because they have male and female parts. So they just need a little bit of airflow, or you can kind of fuss with them a little bit. Baker's Creek, I love Baker's Creek. A lot of my seeds are from Baker's Creek. We're growing this. This is one of these. I don't know which one. I have those growing somewhere. Beets, I have beets growing. Amaranth, that's a great grain. Tomatillos. I'm doing an entire tower of these this year. I was obsessed with tomatillo salsa last year. So many good things. Yeah, so lady like me, I have so many beginner videos for you. I have a membership community that's super inexpensive. It's like $7.99 a month, and all my courses are in there. And the only reason it has a fee on it is just to pay for the site to run it, because it's hard to keep everything organized and intro on YouTube. It gets lost. But I have playlists on YouTube with free content as well, and I'm always on here doing stuff. Look at my mushrooms. We're out of water, gotta fill those up, and I broke my zipper, so I need to fix that. But these are mushroom logs that typically grow outside. Put them in here to see if we can get them to bloom, and then these are my shiitake mushrooms that are coming up. And they're cold. We're pushing it. They need lots of moisture because it's so cold. And I think it's blowing right now. Yeah, you can see, there it is. This mists, and I'm totally messed it up now. It's misting air in here. So mushrooms are interesting because they breathe oxygen and expel CO2 like humans. And so we have a fan in here, but the fan is not to blow air in, it's to suck the CO2 out so that they stay healthy and don't suffocate. And typically this would be zipped, but I broke my zipper, and we keep that moisture going in here and grow mushrooms year round. Big part of my diet. Green onions. The harvest wall is definitely more expensive than the towers, but love it. It's great. They're all great options. Anything that keeps you out of the grocery store, that's good. Can't you grow inside a greenhouse? Yes. You can. And my towers next year are going to be in what's called a high tunnel. And you can. They're just a greenhouse. To heat a greenhouse is very expensive. Most people have to run it off gas, and it's not really worth the cost. So to bring these into the garage doesn't cost me much to heat them. I have a mini split system over there. So it's worth it to do it in here. I am going to do a high tunnel for these. And a high tunnel, you can keep it warm enough that cool weather crops like cilantro. There's a lot of crops that can handle frosts and will be fine. Cauliflower, broccoli, bok choys, cabbages, lettuce, all of that stuff can handle really cold weather. So that's what I'm going to do next year. And I will still have 3 or 4 towers in the garage. I'm probably going to put one in my house, actually. I'd like to have one of these in my basement because it's warmer in there and food grows faster when it's warmer. I'm just kind of over what happens is I've got 13 growing outside, and then I've got to get a bunch of them cleaned. I normally have 8 growing here in the garage. And so it's a lot of work in and out, in and out. I'm trying to avoid that. I don't know. Oh, yeah, hit zone. You can do that on here too. How do you get enough protein for plants? You'd be surprised. My protein intake is about 50 grams a day, and I do CrossFit, and I'm a heavy weight trainer. I actually lift heavy weights, for me anyway. And I have no problems at all. The protein thing's curious because it's become so marketed, and it's like a big thing where you got to have your body weight worth of protein. That's not necessary. It's actually, protein is the only macro that's toxic if you overeat it. It actually becomes a toxin. Carbs, too many carbs store in your cells and then eventually is fat, but to turn a carb into a fat is actually a quite energetic process that burns a lot of those carbs while it's happening. Fats, you eat too many, they store as a fat pretty efficiently, but not as a toxin. And proteins actually become a toxic byproduct in our bodies if we eat too much of it. Thank you. Access Humboldt Unincorporated said, this is so impressive. Love all that you do with your plants. Thank you. Oh, and helping the community. I appreciate it. Alternate power sources. Yes, we keep a couple of backup solar systems, solar battery packs. I don't have them in here. They're in our house. They're on our porch right now in case we lost power because of this storm. But I have those. It will run 4 towers for 36 hours without any problems, not connected to solar. If I connect it to solar, I have a 400-watt panel, solar panel. With that, it's just consistent. I don't have to do anything. I just keep it plugged in. Because they draw such little power, it's easy. Another trick too, if there was a real power outage, what you can do is only run the lights on 1 or 2 of them and spread the lights out like that. It gives the plants enough lights to keep growing and cuts down the power usage quite a bit. These lights are cool. The lights are actually what got me into this because I was trying to find hydroponic lights and they were very complicated. This is the second easiest one, and Harvest Wall put this together. That bird pooped on my light. But they were, when I was trying to shop for all this stuff, it just was overwhelming me. So I like that it's so simple. These things, you just get them in a box. Everything's included. You unpack it. You're literally growing food the next day and replacing the grocery store. It's so good, guys. Are there dirt in the towers? Nope. Aeroponics is a form of hydroponics. And these are a hybrid. So true aeroponics would have a system, usually they're fatter, and it has a mister. And so it takes the water and it mists it onto the roots. These, the water is in the basin, it goes up and it drips on the roots. So they're in air right now. And then it kicks on this one's on, we must have had a power outage because everything's on 0. 0 is for outside, 1 is for inside. Let me see if I can show you. You can hear it. It's dripping now. And so that's sucking in. The cool thing about aeroponics, and this, I call this a hybrid because the water's dripping on them instead of being misted on them. But with aeroponics, because the roots are in the air, it makes them very efficient at when the water touches them, they take in what they need and they release the rest and it recycles. So it's 90% less water to grow food this way. Why that's important, I believe in preparedness, big time. And it uses one of the biggest, most difficult things to find in an emergency is water. And when we had the hurricane, like your whole day is about making sure you have enough water to wash dishes, keep yourself clean, make all your food. Water is critical. So most people think, oh, if there's a crisis, I'll just grow my own food. Well, first off, you can't even mow your lawn if there's no power. We don't have a way to even like keep grass down in an emergency situation. But you wouldn't have enough water. And most people don't realize that to water a garden with your hose, you have to have electricity because they run off pumps. Most people aren't on an artesian well. So if you don't have like a rain collection barrel system set up, you are not growing food in an emergency. It is not that easy. Where with these, they use 90% less water. So I could easily fill these tanks. I refill this one every 2.5 months. Which is nothing. Something this size. Let me look at how much water is. I've used some of this water for other things. Look at this mess, guys. Sorry. This is halfway full, and it's been in here for over 2 months. And I have actually used some of this water for watering these kind of things. So they last a really long time with water, which means you've got security there. You can also hide your food in your garage in an emergency, which is nice. Wells don't run without, our well, like we have a well, but I can't run it without power because we don't have an artesian well. In our old house, we had an artesian well, but most wells still require power. And then our well is several hundred feet deep. So I'm trying to get a manual well pump. They're like $5,000. It's crazy. Yeah, I love your idea using solar lights kits. I've made my own light kit with PVC. It's easy. Yeah, you can do hydroponics without pumps too. It's called the Kratky method. There's lots of options. Yeah, be rich. It depends, I guess, what we value as far as spending our money. To me, they don't cost a lot at all. They actually save me thousands of dollars, and they are producing something all the time year round. So I'm spending my money on an investment that produces something, which is huge in this economy. Oh, let me guys ask you this. Way too much fluoride. Yeah, way too much fluoride and chemicals in the water. If you are growing on city water, definitely use filtration system on everything. You shouldn't even be showering in that stuff. I use well water. So I would not use regular tap water. You can. I mean, I wouldn't use regular tap water anyway, friends. Like, I would have a whole house system if I was on tap water. Water is very, very polluted these days. I have a YouTube I just did on water, and I have a link to a company that has great options if you need some water purification. It's like one of my last videos. It's very clear on there. It says it's about water purification. How do you deal with mold killing your young plants you've sprouted when you put them in the tower? I do not have mold killing them, so I don't know what that means. I have algae, and some of my baby starts look terrible, but it's just because they were down here too long and I haven't been taking very good care of things. But these will pop back. They'll look amazing in a month. You should not have anything killing. If you have something, I would say your nutrients might be off, because there are molds and living things cannot live in a salty medium. And this water should be salty, and it has minerals in it. It should be very mineral rich, which a lot of that stuff can't live in. If you're having a mold issue in your tower, I would look into balancing the nutrients a little bit more or adding more. And you can add food grade hydrogen peroxide if you have a concern of something. And here's my other thing with that. You're probably putting them in too young. So that is something else I did. Let me show you. Here's a perfect example. I have lots of videos on this. This is dying. It's a basil because I put it in way too young. I usually don't put my basil in until it's huge. We were just so busy building tiny homes and stuff for people that are hurricane victims. We've just been so busy that it was so low on my priority list. I just tossed them in there. I just did not care. And they are not living. This was another one. It went in too young. It looks terrible. This one will be fine. But you want them to be the right size. So I would go back and watch some of my videos. I have videos on that. And usually my plants, the smallest they go in the tower is about this. I put this one in yesterday. Until they are, look at these. Like these are my kale plants. These are ready. This is not. That is way too small. These look terrible. These are not happy. What nutrients do you use? You can find the link in my description. I use Tower Garden. These have been, I use them in this system, which is a hydroponic system, and I use them in my Tower Gardens. And I just like them. They're clean. I know where they come from and where they source them. I do not trust anything coming overseas. They're polluted with heavy metals. So Tower Garden is an excellent company as far as like quality control and really caring. So is Harvestwall. That's why I do work with these two companies. Like I talk to the owners on the phone all the time. So it's important, especially with this kind of stuff. So I use these in both systems. Just easier. This one needs some nutrients actually. I bought a basil plant from the store. It was bare root and a plastic bag. Was fine till I put it in dirt. Now it's unhappy, wilting, dying. Yeah, you can't. It's really, really difficult to take a plant from hydroponics and adapt it to soil, or to take a soil plant and adapt it to hydroponics. Basil is also not a perennial. It's an annual. It's meant to grow, burn out, and need to be replaced. So something like a pepper, you could probably do it if you were willing to be very patient. But something like a basil, I wouldn't even bother. Like it's a fast turnover plant. When you grow basil in here, one basil plant will grow all winter, and I'll keep cutting off of it, and then it's done. And then I will start them again in the spring. I'll actually start them now for the spring, and I will harvest off of those until the summer. They'll be done. I'll start again in the summer. So I would say every 5 months max, I'm replacing my basil plants. So they're just not a plant that can transition like that. Aloe, however, these were grown in the soil. They were purchased online, and I put them in my tower. It took them 4 months, maybe even longer, to adapt to hydroponics. It took a very long time. They've just now gotten stable and are growing and are really strong and healthy. Took a long, long time. Now they have pups. These are babies. I can take these and put them in rock wool and get those to take really quickly because they are established. They've only known hydroponics. But you really can't go from one to the other. I cannot wait until I get all these towers cleaned up for you guys. But this is also the reality. Sometimes gardening's messy when you're busy or you're invested in other projects. But still look at it. It grows without me. They're a little messy, but I still have all this food, and I literally do absolutely nothing out here. Nothing. Except for that. Yeah, aloe's a miracle plant. Lisa, tell us your stories. Hi. When to fertilize. So you just fill them up. Ideally, when your tank is half full, these hold 20 gallons. When your tank is half full, you would fill it up with water and add the nutrients based on the instructions, which is one of those scooperfuls per A and B. I never do that. I always let my tanks run to the bottom to where they're almost empty. This one's actually very, very close. I fill them up and I just put 2 scooperfuls of the nutrients in. You don't have to overthink it. If anything, the people that fuss with their towers too much have the least success. Plants want to grow. I do nothing with these. I just plant them, make sure they have water and power, and leave them alone. Yeah, cilantro is so good. Oh yeah, the soap gene with cilantro, Dirty Dan and Kristen. I got that after COVID. I have had a different taste for cilantro since then. I still eat it because it is a heavy metal detox, and I am a believer that you can train yourself to like anything, taste-wise with plants. So I eat it almost every day. But yeah, I've got that now after getting the vid. Isn't that crazy? So I don't know. Something happened to my genes. Helps my skin. I'm a former smoker and alcoholic. Love using it on my scalp and feet as a moisturizer. Lisa's talking about aloe. Well, congratulations on sobriety. That is amazing. I know that's not easy to do, either one of those substances. So that's amazing. There's a book I have on aloe. And really, if you've got it, eat it. There's only there's a variety that's not edible. So make sure you have the right variety. It can I shouldn't say cure on this platform. It can do miracle things for your body in the way of healing, inside as well as outside. It's sold, you can buy it by the gallon at good places. It's like $50 a gallon. That's why I grow it. Let's harvest. We're gonna eat some of this today. When I go in, I'm gonna have my aloe and my herb and my orange and what did I say? Grapefruit juice. Such can't grow pot garlic. Yeah, you can't grow anything deep root vegetables like carrots or potatoes because those grow under the ground. But you can grow turnips. You can grow radishes. You can grow rutabaga. Anything that has a feeder root. So this has a little root in the inside, and then the top root is the food. This I'm pretty sure is a root vegetable. Let's see if I can get it out. There's another one right here. I can't pull them out, but I'm pretty sure, yeah. Let's look at this one. I think that's a rutabaga in there. Or a wasabi. This actually might be wasabi. I keep calling it wasabi, but I really don't know. I don't label things, so I don't remember until they start to look like the food they're supposed to be. Sometimes I forget. Do you cut it up in your salad, cilantro? So I'm actually doing a 12-day smoothie cleanse with some of you may be on here. I have a community page, and I'm doing a smoothie cleanse with some people right now, and I eat it like salad. So I harvest it by the bundles full, like lettuce, and I mix it with pineapple, and I eat it pineapple and cilantro raw. I would eat that every single day. It's so good. I juice it. I put it in soups, put it in guacamole, put it in salads, anything. I love aloe and use it in my morning iced coffee. Helps with diabetes, helps with intestines, so much more. That is amazing. Yeah, aloe is super good for you. Use it on my gums, aloe for her gums. That's awesome. Pineapple and cilantro sounds delicious. It is so good. And I mean, like, make a salad. So fill up a bowl as big as a salad. I wish I had more cilantro. I'm kind of low on cilantro. I usually have like 3 rows of it going. But make a bowl, like huge bowl, and then coat it with little bites of pineapple. Let it sit for a few minutes so the cilantro softens up a little bit. It is incredible. And with this kind of food, I can make a lot of meals off of this. So a common thing I'm doing right now is I make dal. And so I'll use radish, peppers, a lot of greens, green onion. I top that with raw cilantro. And then lentils, and then make my dal. I will make salads every day. I will make lettuce wraps. So I take these kind of lettuce, these bigger leaf ones, And I'll take green onions and peppers and radishes and cauliflower and kohlrabi. I grow a lot of kohlrabi, which is like a broccoli or a cabbage. And I'll slice it up and roll it, put a little avocado and dressing in there. So there's so many different meals you can make with all this food if you get used to, you know, using it and eating it every day. One thing I'm making tonight for dinner, which we just harvested, this cabbage. So this is a beautiful Chinese cabbage. This is called Golden Beauty. This was an Emiko cabbage, and sometimes I'd let it get too big. I was eating off of it a bunch, and some of the tips got brown. This doesn't mean anything other than it's time to eat it. So I harvested this one, and we're gonna harvest this. I think we're gonna take a lot of this one. So I'm going to take just some of the greens to thin this out. And I'm making egg rolls. So I'm getting a lot of cabbage and bok choys. This is tatsoi. Tatsoi is, if you want to get rid of spinach. Spinach is sold to us as a superfood. So is kale. Kale has some of the highest pesticide loads on the market of vegetables, of greens. And spinach has barely any nutrients. It loses all its vitamin C within 3 days. Very, very lacking. And actually, spinach has a compound in it that prevents your body from uptaking calcium effectively. So it can hinder your calcium absorption from greens if you're eating spinach with everything. So I like to eat these tatsoi and these bok choys and these other greens that are, I mean, look at that. They are packed full of nutrition. We're literally going to have them on the plate within an hour or so. So good. With the harvest wall, typically I take the whole plant and eat it, but I don't have a lot of starts. So we have these open grow ports, and you don't want a ton of those because they let light into your tower. I just, again, got behind on life. So let's see if we can find something to put in. This is a tomato. This can go in. Getting tomatoes started now, and come March, when everybody's starting to get their plants growing, I'm going to have tomatoes actually fruiting because I started ahead of time. Cauliflower right here. This is cauliflower. Take some of this kale. We want some turnips, or not turnips, we want some radish for our egg rolls. I make entire meals out of parsley. I make parsley pasta salads every single week. So I take a ton of parsley. I ferment radishes to add to that, and I add like orzo pasta. I just ordered a system today for Sydney, Australia. Yay, awesome. I have tomatoes fruiting on my towers. That is amazing, Diane. Tomatoes fruiting in the middle of January. Come on, it doesn't even get better than that. Not a fan of kale. Love spinach. I eat it raw most of the time. Yeah, if you can switch, Lisa, to tatsoi, the nutrient content is way higher. Also, another thing with mushrooms, they just CRISPR edited mushrooms. That's why I grow my mushrooms. They're genetically modifying the dang mushrooms now. You know what they're genetically modifying? The soil. This company just created this whole genetically modified biologic to spray on all the soil. So when I was talking about compost and I don't grow in the soil anymore or like get compost from other places, yeah, it's all going to be genetically modified dirt. Makes me so mad. Ashley, my email is steffmor8@gmail.com. You can email me there. You can use binders like charcoal and bentonite clay. Yeah, binders are good. Okay, sorry I missed some of you guys' conversations. You're having great conversations. How to make your own stuff. How do you harvest aloe? I just literally pulled off the leaves. And I'm going to go peel it, and I'm going to scrape the inside, and then I'm going to put it in my juice that I'm about to have. All right. Master Chef stuff. Yeah, I'm trying to show more videos. I think I'm going to do like short content clips throughout the week because I'll make longer content videos. But then in between that, I'm making a bazillion things that we eat. So I may just start putting out like 10-minute videos showing you guys how to turn this stuff into food to eat. Best not to use metal knives when cutting aloe. Plastic. I use the silver coated ones. It's the same with garlic. Like you never want to touch garlic or honey with not bad metal, fake metal, not fake metal. I don't know what you call it. But if you have silver plated silverware, that's different. You can use those, which is what I use to eat with. I just go to thrift stores and get all of people's old china or dish, what do you call theirs? Silverware, their fancy stuff that they didn't use that got given away to Goodwill when it was passed down to their grandchildren, which is so sad. Okay. All right, guys, thanks for joining me. If you want more information on the towers or the harvest wall or the mushrooms, definitely subscribe to my YouTube. And then I have it in the description, links to my stand store. I have a free ebook, talks all about, not this system, talks all about the towers. I've got a seed starting guide, lots of resources over there for you. Thanks for joining me. It's been fun. Just get out. It's snowy out. But look at this food. Hold on. I didn't even try to harvest anything, and we got all these greens. I'm actually going to come back out in a little bit and harvest more, and I'm going to make that pepper spray that one of you guys mentioned for the pest, because that sounds amazing. All right, stay warm. Have a beautiful day. I will see you guys soon.